In this lecture, I would like to discuss about the very important equation that is Gibbs-Duhem-Morgulus equation. In the syllabus of the SYBSC, we learn the Gibbs-Duhem equation only. So the Gibbs-Duhem equation, it is written as in the SYBSC, we have learned this equation. So you can see this equation, summation of Ni d mu I, it is equal to 0. So this is the Gibbs-Duhem equation. Now with the help of this Gibbs-Duhem equation, we are going to derive the Gibbs-Duhem Morgulus equation. Gibbs-Duhem Morgulus equation. So let us start to derive this equation. So Gibbs-Duhem equation for a binary system is given by, okay, the Gibbs-Duhem equation for a binary system, it is given here. For the binary system means only there are two components are present. So for a binary system, it is Gibbs-Duhem equation, it is minus S dt plus V dp plus N1 d mu1 plus N2 d mu2 equal to 0. Okay. So at constant temperature and pressure, so dt equal to 0 and dp equal to 0 because the change in the temperature, as temperature is constant, it is equal to 0, and the change in the pressure, it is also equal to 0. So in this equation, dt it is equal to 0 and dp it is equal to 0. So these two terms get cancelled. So therefore we can write the equation now, n1 d mu1 plus n2 d mu2 equal to 0. So this is also the Gibbs-Duhem equation, n1 d mu1 plus n2 d mu2. It is equal to 0, and we know this is the equation 2. Okay. Now dividing this equation with total number of moles. Actually, we consider the two components. Suppose N1 is the number of mole of the first component, then N2 is the number of mole of the second component, then the total number of the moles, it becomes equal to N1 plus N2. Okay, number of moles of the first component plus number of moles of the second component. So divide this equation 2. So it is N1 upon N1 plus N2. So we can write the equation now. This is N1 upon N1 plus N2 into d mu1. Similarly here, N2 upon N1 plus N2 into d mu2, it is equal to 0. Now in this equation, number of moles divided by total number of moles, it is nothing but the mole fraction of that component. So we can write here N1 upon N1 plus N2, N1 upon N1 plus N2, it is equal to the mole fraction, that is X1, mole fraction of the first component. Similarly, N2 upon N1 plus N2, it is equal to X2. So therefore this equation now, equation 2 will be changes to X1 d mu1, you can see here, plus X2 d mu2, it is equal to 0. So this is equation 3. X1 d mu1 plus X2 d mu2, it is equal to 0. This is the equation 3. Now I know that chemical potential of any component is a function of temperature, pressure and mole fraction. Chemical potential of any component, suppose that we consider ith component. So it is a function of, pressure, temperature and number of moles, N1, N2 up to Ni minus 1. Okay. Or we can also write this in this way, you can see. Chemical potential of the ith component, it is equal to C. it is a function of, it is a function of temperature, pressure and mole fraction or number of moles. Now let us do the partial differentiation of this equation. Partial differentiation of this equation, chemical potential. So change in the chemical potential, this is d mu. Then change in the chemical potential with respect to temperature. So d mu upon dt, where change in the temperature it is dt at constant pressure and this mole fraction of the ith component, plus change in the chemical potential with respect to pressure, then change in the pressure it is dp multiplied by at constant temperature and mole fraction. Now temperature is constant here because in this case there are three terms: temperature, pressure and mole fraction of that component. So change in the chemical potential with respect to temperature, change in the chemical potential with respect to pressure, change in the chemical potential with respect to mole fraction. Other variables are constant. Okay, because chemical potential it is a function of temperature, pressure and mole fraction. Okay, it means chemical potential it is depends upon temperature. As the temperature will be changes, chemical potential will be changes. As the pressure will be changes, chemical potential will be changes. So by doing the partial differentiation of this equation, we can write here d mu it is equal to, so change in the chemical potential with respect to temperature multiplied by change in the temperature here dt at constant pressure and mole fraction. Similarly, change in the chemical potential with respect to pressure into dp at constant temperature and mole fraction. Change in the chemical potential with respect to now the mole fraction, okay, at constant temperature and pressure. Now we know that at constant temperature and pressure, dt, that is change in temperature, becomes equal to 0, and change in pressure it is equal to 0 because temperature and pressure both are constant here. So in this equation, as dt equal to 0, so this term get cancelled. Similarly here dp equal to 0, so the first two terms get cancelled. So then we can write here change in the chemical potential of that component, okay, it is equal to change in the chemical potential of that component with respect to mole fraction, means this is the remaining term here, into dxi at constant temperature and pressure. This is equation 4. Okay, so we are getting this equation now: change in the chemical potential of that component, it is equal to d mu upon dxi into dxi at constant temperature and pressure. Now substitute this equation 4 in equation 3. So let us see what is equation 3. We have written that equation now. Let us write that equation once again here: x1 d mu 1 plus x2 d mu 2, it is equal to 0. This is equation 3, I think. Okay, so d mu it is equal to this term. Okay, so substitute this. So it is now by substituting this d mu into this equation. So for this first component, so it is x1, so it is d mu 1 upon dx1, d mu 1 upon dx1, okay, first component, into dx1, okay, plus x2 into for the second component it is d mu 2 upon dx2, d mu 2 upon dx2 into this dx2 here, so into dx2, it is equal to 0. So in this way we modify the equation 3 by substituting this d mu 1. Now we have been derived this d mu 1 by doing the partial differentiation and at constant temperature and pressure. So these two terms get cancelled, and now third term it is d mu upon dxi into dxi. So we have taken, this is for the ith component. Okay, so we are getting now this equation here. This is equation 5. Okay. This is equation 5 here. Now we know the definition of the chemical potential. Chemical potential of the component I is given by the chemical potential for the, according to the definition of the chemical potential, the chemical potential for the ith component, it is given by chemical potential for the ith component, it is given by, you can see here. So it is mu I, it is equal to this mu I0 plus RT ln Fi, that is fugacity. Okay, this is for the, I think, real gases. The chemical potential can be written here. Now we can differentiating this equation with respect to xi. Differentiating this equation with respect to xi. So let us do the differentiation of this equation. So it is written as d mu I with respect to xi. Okay, at constant temperature and pressure, it is equal to, temperature and pressure is constant here because every time we consider temperature and pressure is constant. So let us do the differentiation of this. So differentiation of this mu 0, because it is a standard chemical potential, it is a constant term, so no differentiation will be there. And differentiation of this, now it is it can be written as R. So differentiation of this term can be written R derivative of ln Fi with respect to dxi, okay, at constant temperature and pressure. So this is the differentiation of this equation with respect to xi. With respect to xi, RT should be there, sorry, RT into delta ln Fi upon delta xi. This is equation 6 now here. This is equation 6 here. See here. Now substitute equation 6 in equation 5. Substitute equation 6 in equation 5. Now we have written equation 5. Once again, I would like to show the equation 5 here. You can see this x1 d mu 1 upon dxi into dx x1 into d mu 1 upon dx1. So let us write this equation here, equation 5. So I would like to write this equation 5 here. Okay. So let us write the equation 5 here once again because we want to substitute. So what is equation 5? I would like to write here. You can see x1 into d mu 1 into dx1 into dx1, d mu 1 upon dx1 into dx1 plus x2 into d mu 1, small change in the chemical potential, d mu 2 with respect to x2, dx2 into dx2, it is equal to 0. So now we can see here d mu 1 upon dx1 equal to this term. Okay, this. Okay, so let us substitute this term. So we can write here x1 into, so this is RT. Okay, so we can write this term now, RT into, because delta mu I upon delta x1 at constant temperature and pressure equal to this term. So it is RT derivative of ln Fi, F1 now for first component, we are writing this. So dx1, okay, into this dx1 plus x2 into that is RT derivative of ln F2 divided by dx2 into dx2 here, it is equal to 0. Okay, so we are getting this equation. Now RT is common here, so RT should be taken as a common here, RT into, okay, so x1 derivative of ln F1 upon dx1 into dx1 at constant temperature and pressure plus x2, okay, so it becomes equal to 0. Just we are substituting this into this equation in the equation 5, then we can write this now. Now you can see in this equation RT never is equal to 0. This is the equation where RT into this term, okay, becomes equal to 0, but R is a constant, temperature is a constant, so we cannot say that RT it is equal to 0. The product of the this universal gas constant multiplied by the temperature never equal to 0. Therefore, it means that the second term becomes equal to 0. Second term becomes equal to 0. It is never equal to 0. So we can take the second term becomes equal to 0 now here. So what is the second term here? X1 into derivative of d ln f1 upon dx1 into dx1 at constant temperature and pressure, plus x2 into d ln f2 upon dx2 into dx2 at constant temperature and pressure becomes equal to 0. So this second term becomes equal to 0 here. Okay, the second term becomes equal to 0. Now we know that the mole fraction of the first component plus mole fraction of the second component becomes equal to 1. The addition of the mole fraction becomes equal to 1. Okay, x1 plus x2 it is equal to 1 here. So let us write here x1 plus x2 it is equal to 1. Therefore, we can write dx1 equal to minus dx2 here. Okay, how it is? Dx1 it is equal to minus dx2 because x1 it is equal to 1 minus x2. Okay, x1 it is equal to 1 minus x2. x1 it is equal to 1 minus x2. Therefore, we can write this equation now here. Dx1 it is equal to minus dx2. Okay, this is if we take the derivative here, dx1 it is equal to minus dx2. If we take the derivative of this, derivative of this one becomes equal to 0, so it is minus dx2 here. So you can see here dx1 it is equal to minus dx2. So in the previous equation now, or dx2 it is equal to minus dx1. So you can see here in the previous equation, that is x1 into derivative of ln f1 upon dx1 into dx1. This remains as it is. Now minus x2 into derivative of ln f2 upon dx2. Okay, so now this dx2 it is equal to minus dx1. Therefore, here negative sign. Okay, so minus x2 into this, it is equal to 0. Just we substitute the values here. We substitute the values here. Now both the terms are having dx1 here. So taking dx1 as a common. So again we can write x1 into derivative of ln f1 upon dx1 at constant temperature and pressure minus x2 into this term derivative of ln f2 upon dx2. It is equal to 0. Now in this case also dx1 never equal to 0 because it is a change in the mole fraction. Dx1 it is never equal to 0. The first term it is not equal to 0. It means that second term will becomes equal to 0. Okay, as the change in the mole fraction does not equal to 0. So second term it is equal to 0. So we can write now here the second term what is x1 derivative of ln f1 upon dx1 at constant temperature and pressure minus this x2 into derivative of ln f2 upon dx2 at constant temperature and pressure, it is equal to 0. Now let us rearrange this equation. Okay, rearranging this equation now here. So we can write the equation now in this way, taking this on this side. Okay, so it is now you can see in this equation what we are getting here, rearranging the equation here. So it is derivative of ln f1 upon dx1 upon x1, taking this x1 here. Okay, goes to the denominator here. Okay, so it is derivative of ln f1 divided by taking this x1 at the this okay, so just rearrangement is here. Okay, so we can write this equation now, minus this similarly here, derivative of ln f2 upon dx2 into x2, it is equal to 0. Okay, now since derivative of ln x1 it is equal to, what is the derivative of ln x1? Derivative of ln x1 it is equal to, so ln x it is 1 upon x1 into derivative of this it is dx1, so it is dx1 upon x1. So derivative of ln x1 it is equal to dx1 upon x1. Okay, so you can see in this equation what is this, dx1 upon x1, so we can write here derivative of ln x1. Okay, so let us simplify this, derivative of ln f1. So instead of writing this term we can write this term now, derivative of ln x1. So derivative of ln x1 it is equal to, okay, taking this on this side it becomes positive now here, so derivative of ln f2 divided by this derivative of ln x2. Okay, so this equation it is called as a Gibbs-Duhem-Morgulus equation. You can see here this equation it is called as a Gibbs-Duhem-Morgulus equation, or once again we can simplify this equation also. Okay, so you can see here we have written this equation, derivative of ln f1 upon derivative of ln x1 it is equal to this. Then let us simplify this equation once again. Okay, so derivative of ln f1 upon derivative of ln x1 it is equal to derivative of ln f2 upon derivative of ln x2. Now we know that what is the derivative of ln f1. So let us write here derivative of ln f1 it is equal to derivative of ln f1. So derivative of ln f1 it is equal to 1 upon f1 into df1. Similarly, derivative of ln f2 it is equal to 1 upon f2 into df2. So put this into this equation. Okay, so it can be written now 1 upon f1 into df1. Similarly for this derivative of ln x1, 1 upon x1 into dx1. Okay, it is divided by here, it is equal to, this is 1 upon derivative of ln f2, 1 upon f2 into df2, it is divided by this term derivative of ln x2, 1 upon x2 into dx2. So we can now simplify this equation. So it can be written as, now this x1 goes to the numerator here, so it is x1 df1 and f1 dx1, this it is equal to x2 df2 upon f2 dx2. Okay, the equation can be written as x1 df1 divided by f1 dx1, it is equal to x2 df2, it is divided by f2 dx2, and this equation it is called as Gibbs-Duhem-Morgulus equation, where x1 is the mole fraction of the component 1, df1 it is a small change in the fugacity for the component 1, f1 is the fugacity of the component 1, and dx1 is the change in the mole fraction of the component 1. It is equal to x2 into df2 divided by f2 into dx2. So this is the equation called as Gibbs-Duhem-Morgulus equation. So in this equation there is a relationship between the mole fraction with the fugacity. x1 it is related to f2. Now we can write the equation. Now this equation it is valid for real gases. Now for ideal gases we can write the equation where fugacity it is equal to pressure. Fugacity it is equal to pressure here. So therefore we can write the equation now for ideal gases. For ideal gases, F it is equal to P. So therefore, in place of fugacity, dF1, we can write here dP1. So in place of dF2, we have to write dP2 here. As fugacity, it is equal to pressure. So you can see the equation here, x1 dP1 upon P1 dx1, it is equal to x2 dP2 upon P2 dx2. So this is for the equation can be written for the ideal gases, perfect gas. Okay. So this is also called as a Gibbs-Duhem-Morgulus equation. What is this equation? x1 dP1 divided by P1 dx1, it is equal to x2 dP2 divided by P2 dx2. So this equation, it is known as Gibbs-Duhem-Morgulus equation. So in this way, in this lecture, we derive the very important equation, and that equation, it is called as a Gibbs-Duhem-Morgulus equation, which is a relationship between the mole fraction with uh, pressure. Okay. So in this way, we discuss here the Gibbs-Duhem-Morgulus equation.